I wanted to share with you guys today something I was talking to one of my buddies about. He was asking me like, "Hey Vic, where do you think I should invest my money? I know I'm going to be investing with you, but I got some extra money aside from real estate. What do you think I should do?" Right? He was thinking about some other options. And I was like, "Hey man, look, getting rich is a choice. Creating wealth is a duty. So if you already know that your job, your responsibility is to go ahead and create wealth for you and your family, it doesn't make sense to just think about what is the fastest route to getting rich. The guy has a successful business. He makes a good bit of money. He has some money sitting. He's throwing it in on a deal, but he's like, dude, what do you think? Should I leave it? And I'm like, no, like not if you're creating wealth. If you're creating wealth, it is your duty to not make mistakes with your money. So I wanted to go over a couple of things because this is how I think about that. And I wanted to share this with you. There's some stats naturally, and one of the bigger things that I love statistics. I like thinking about those things. But when I was reading something, I'm not gonna pull it up, but you can Google this. 1% control 95 of the wealth in the world combined. Of all the other people, the top 1% control 95% of everybody else combines wealth. That's crazy. If you are just thinking about that, that means if you're just looking to get rich is not the same as create wealth. And here's the difference. Now, if you were just focused on rich and this is wealth, here's what happens. People who are rich, they get a house, right? Because that's what they're told. Go buy a house, got to own your own home. Rich people think a house is an asset. It is not. What else? They save their money. Like my buddy, he has some money in savings and he's like, dude, I got to do something. Burning a hole in his pocket. He's looking at it every day, even though he's hustling in his business. He has a good business too, right? They go off, they buy a car, they focus on that because that's a status thing for them. They use debt, right? A lot of credit card debt. Boom. Living off of their credit card debt because that's how they get this thing done. They pay the highest amount in taxes, typically 40% plus as it relates to taxes are concerned. They're working for their money. I'll just go down all the line. I'm going to carry it over because there's so much, right? And they're saving they're taught to save in an IRA or 401k, right? While they're at some job, they have college debt. So they already have debt right here because they're taught that go to school, get a good job, do that stuff. So they work for their money. Well, I have that right there, but they work hard for it, right? We're talking 80 plus hours. Like that's not abnormal, right? Like if you're an entrepreneur, you're doing that. If you're a business owner, you're doing that. I'm talking about middle class millionaires or middle class earners, or even if you're a high net worth person. I mean, high earning person where you work, whether you're a doctor, you're an engineer, maybe you're an attorney, maybe you own a practice, maybe you own a firm, maybe you're a chiropractor, whatever that is. But if you aren't focusing on these other things, which we'll go through that, this isn't a part of the wealthy part. I'm still going down the line here. But even in the business, did you know only 9% of business owners make over $1 million dollars of revenue a year? I'm gonna write it on that side. 1 million annually. Only 9% of them do that, right? That's ridiculous. That means the other 91% of business owners set out to start a business and they failed. Why? Because they were focused on, like my buddy, they're focused on getting rich. How do I save? Now, we all need to take care of our families, but wealthy families, wealthy people play a whole different game. If you watch my other video, talk about they're running a different program. So that same thing, T chart's kind of jacked up, but I'm going to use it anyway. So what do wealthy people do? And there's different levels of wealthy now, right? So wealthy, they're taught to invest. They invest their money. They're not looking to earn money. Now, they invest earned income, and then they live off the cash flow. And that's passive to them, right? Let's see what else. They use debt. They use debt to get more of what it is they're doing. So they use good debt. That's called leverage, right? They actually use the tax code for their benefit. Most of them are paying $0 in taxes because they're investing, right? They focus on real estate, they focus on business as it relates to those things, but they're playing the game of business. They're not looking to save money, they're not doing all that stuff. They focus on scale, right? They focus on employees, right? They're duplicating and multiplying themselves. If you think through all those things, they control assets, control assets. People who are just trying to get rich want to own liabilities rather than control assets. It's very different, right? Let's see what else do they do. They're focused on partnerships. I got a couple of people who are investors with me who they're in more partnerships than I ever heard. I'm like, dude, you have a lot of partnerships happening right now because they believe in that. They know this is a collaboration, collabo. They would rather do collaborations. Yep, collabo. Yeah. I'm not gonna spell out collaboration, but you get it. They're looking to partner with other people. They believe in it. And they want to be limited partners. They don't want to be the GP. They don't want to be me. They don't want to be like, hey, I'm gonna put together and I'm gonna do all this work. They're already running their businesses and they're focusing on creating wealth, generational wealth for their family. They're focusing on this is the big one. They're focusing on multiplying money, multiplying. Most people only focus on saving. That's it. Wealthy people focus on that. It's very different. And the biggest part about this, and this is how the multiplication thing works, because they're thinking long term. They're thinking long term, right? There's a big difference in that. So a lot of times, if you just think through all those things, if you're just looking, if you're just rich, that's your right. But if you want to create wealth, this is a duty, right? So what do you need to do to create wealth? You need assets, right? You don't want liabilities over here. Rich people have liabilities. Rich people focus on assets. Um, Rich people focus on investing. These people focus on spending, right? So assets, just the spending part. Rich people focus on partnering. Partners, they want to own it all. Rich people want to own everything. They ain't focusing on having a part. Oh, I got to own all of it, man. I want 100%. They'd rather have 100% of all of it. Yes, it looks good, but these people would rather own like 1% of a billion than own 100% of $10. Because that's what it works out to be later on down the line. These people, wealthy people, they focus on zero taxes. How do we use the tax code? And these people end up paying the most taxes, trying to figure out a way out of it. It doesn't work. So, yes, you can get rich. You can function this way. This right here is the middle class. I don't know if you've noticed, and I've been talking about this for a while, but I believe personally, the middle class, the middle class millionaire, the middle class millionaire is going to be hit the hardest. Pays the most amount in taxes, plus in taxes, you have the highest expense, most lawsuits with the least amount of protection. So if you want to play the I want to get rich game so I can spend money and I can travel and I can go on vacations and I can look the part of the wealthy, man, it's really tough. It really is. Because if you're doing the wealth thing, once you make the commitment and this becomes your duty, then you figure out a way to use the tax benefits for you, not against you. You pay the least amount of money in taxes. You're already invested with other people, so there's a lot less lawsuits when you have a bunch of partners involved, especially when everybody's doing the right thing. It's a lot harder to do the wrong thing when you have a bunch of partners than it is to do the wrong thing when you're just by yourself, right? It really is. But when this is your duty, you really do think differently, right? So, like I told my buddy, rich. Yes, that's your right. Everybody has a right to get rich in this country. If you live in this country, man, this is a place where you can do those things. You can do everything in your power to create the life you want for your family, to leave something behind, to create a business, to start a business, to start from nothing. People move here to this country for that reason. There is millions of people escaping into this country for that reason, for a better life. Here's the problem. Only a small amount of people actually make it. Why? Because they're focused on honoring their duty and saying, look, I'm gonna earn my money, I'm gonna save my money, then I'm gonna focus on investing it, I'm gonna focus on using good debt and leverage, investing in real estate and or businesses. I'm going to focus on scaling. I'm going to focus on employing the right people, training them, building an organization, doing the right thing. I'm going to use the tax codes to my benefits. I mean, for us, we use real estate. That's the thing I was telling my buddy about. And I'm going to focus on either controlling assets or being in a partnership that controls assets so we can actually operate at scale so we can do more. So I can actually create wealth for myself and my family, right? By getting what? Cash flow. Cash flow. Boom. Now, um, here's the thing. Every time we're looking at a deal or every time we're looking at any investment for real estate, right, to build capital, I already know what I'm looking for because I'm thinking about helping myself, my company, my employees in the future, and my investors in the future create wealth. So what do we need? Every deal. Number one, capital preservation. Preserve. Right. Number one, we always don't lose the money. So we take money. This is what the wealthy do. They'll take their money and they'll convert it into a real asset, real estate, something that actually generates revenue, but it preserves capital, right? It stays in front of inflation. Next, we're looking all the time. Does this thing cash flow? We need cash flow coming in, and that's monthly, not quarterly, not once a year, nothing like that. We're talking about investments that actually cash flow monthly. Next, the tax benefits. There needs to be some tax benefits for this, some write-offs. So we keep more of what we make in our deal. And then last but not least, we need to be able to get good leverage. And then also that debt allows us to move into getting more assets at scale, right? Because the leverage with the good debt, we can go off, we can buy more stuff. Like real estate does that, which is why more people invest in real estate. Now, here's the other thing, and I've been talking about this, you guys have heard me say it, but I haven't backed this statistic up, but I know that this is true when I take a look at who is doing what and where. 90% of millionaires are made through real estate, but almost 100% of billionaires come from private equity, hedge funds in the financial sector. So when you're investing as a limited partner in a syndication, you are more likely to be involved in a $1 billion business as a partner than you are just doing a $1 million deal, $2 million deal, something like that on your own, or maybe with a small group of people. So if you're looking to get into bigger things, like I said, with scale, you want to start thinking the way the wealthy do. The wealthy want to invest in institutional quality assets, $1 billion companies. They're not trying to figure out how do I just kind of get rich for myself and that's it, and eventually lose it. So when we're thinking through stuff, when I'm thinking about it, because I'm building wealth, I want to get super wealthy with me and my partners and stuff like that, which is why we're doing it Bell Capital. And I want you to think about that too. Because yes, getting rich is my right. I've always done that. I've always been, it's not rich to me, but in consider it like we were always rich as it relates to real estate's concerned. We were always well ahead of the pack. I always made a lot of money. But when I started Bell Capital, my goal was to help everyday people get invested, which said, hey, I have to leave those things alone. I have to move towards the wealthy side, the top 1% of the world. And that's what I wanted to do. And you can't do that unless you're playing this game, right? Because this is what, if you're going to create wealth, these are the things you're looking for. This is what we look for in every deal that we invest in, right? Every one of these things. Does it preserve our capital? Will we lose money in this deal? Does it cash flow? It has to cash flow from day one. I will not invest in something that doesn't cash flow right away. Are there tax write-offs and benefits associated with the actual investment? Real estate has one of the highest amounts of tax benefits you can ever have in commercial real estate for multifamily. Next, could we get leverage? Does $1 buy us $4 worth of real estate, right? Is there leverage? Can we get leverage on our money? And then last but not least, with the debt that we're able to get, like, because when we look at a deal, I'm like, hey, can we put down some of our money and get debt on the rest of it? Absolutely. Real estate does that. And because of it, it allows us to scale our portfolio a lot faster. That's the wealthy game. That's the wealth program. Most people aren't taught that. They're like, buy a house, move in it, live in it, hope when you sell it 30 years from now, it's going to have some equity. May not happen. That is not wealth. That's rich. And you may not even get rich. To me, that sounds like a nightmare. So, as I expressed out to my buddy, look, think about it for yourself. Ask yourself that question. Yes, getting rich is your right, but wealth is your duty. Knowing what you know now about investments, about where multiplying your money, about saving your money, earning your money, how hard it is, taxes, all the things that's going on in the world right now. Don't you owe it to your family to focus on creating wealth, not just getting rich? Rich people are suffering, right? Most people who make $1 million a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because 50% of their income is going to taxes and the rest of it is going to expenses. And inflation is driving the what the dollar can purchase down. So you can't even save your way to even getting rich. Like this right here, I can probably almost cross that off. You ain't saving anything. But what you can do is you can invest your money and have your money multiply for you because your money can work harder than you can. And it keeps working whether you work for it or not. That's the difference. So if you're going to make the choice, again, make wealth your duty. Don't make rich your only choice, even though it is one. All right. So I hope this helps. I didn't express this much with my friend. I just kind of kept it simple and witty, right? I was like, hey man, like rich is a choice. Rich is your right, but you should be making wealth your duty. You owe it to your family to do that. All right. So I hope this helps you guys. Leave me a comment. Where are you at on here? Did you just or were you only making rich your right? Like it's my right to get rich. Oh, I'm gonna fight for it. Who cares? Why don't you make wealth your duty? Do it for the people you don't know yet. Do it for your family. Do it for your church later because you want to donate to them. Do it for the people that you care about. I mean, hell, there's fires going on in LA, man. There's more people affected by that fire. The more wealth you have, the more you can give, the more you can help, right? You can't do that if you're only focused on being rich because there's only so much at that rich level where you have to start thinking about where you're at and what you're doing and what you have access to. All right. So super, this is something that's important to me. I want to help you make wealth your duty like it is mine. All right. So like this channel, comment on the video, give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down if you hate it. It's all good. I love those too. But leave me a comment. Where are you at in that? What made sense to you? What stood out to you when you watched this? Are you like, dude, I didn't even think about that. Like wealth is my duty. You need to make wealth a duty that you know better, right? If you didn't know better, great. But now you do. Study this. Study wealthy people. Watch what they do. Like I do that. I study Warren Buffett. I study Elon Musk. I study Jeff Bezos. I study even my mentor, Grant Cardone. Like I study and I listen to what they say. He's not studying himself. He's studying those guys too. So I'm studying Barry Sternlicht from Starwood Capital, Larry Fink, BlackRock. I'm studying Steve Schwarzman from Blackstone, like trillion-dollar companies. What are these guys as company owners? What are they doing? They're not doing what our moms and our dads and their grandparents taught them to do. It's a whole different world. And unless you're going to play that game, the wealthy game, man, you're going to have a tough time 100 years in the future. Your family, your bloodline may stop because you didn't do what it took today to make a difference. You have to be the one. I'm the one in my family that's making the difference. Will you be that? All right. So again, let's go. Let me know if you need anything. Boom. Are you an accredited investor with $300,000 or more liquid in the bank? I want you to come and partner with me. Look, if you love real estate, passive income, and positive cash flow, appreciation over long periods of time, and you're willing to be patient, come invest with me. Go to bell-capital.com. This is for accredited investors with $300,000 or more in the bank, ready to go. Come invest with me. Go to bell-capital.com.